When you think of Japan, what comes to mind? Maybe it's sushi, anime, cherry blossoms, or futuristic cities like Tokyo. For decades, the world has seen Japan as a peaceful, pacifist nation, a global economic giant, but a military dwarf. But what if I told you that's changing and fast? Japan is quietly but decisively re-emerging as a major military power, and the reasons why will reshape the future of Asia and the world. Stick around, because this is a story you need to hear. After its defeat in World War II, Japan adopted a new constitution, written with significant American influence. The key part is Article 9, which famously renounces war as a sovereign right of the nation. It states that land, sea, and air forces, as well as other war potential, will never be maintained. This effectively neutered Japan's military capabilities, turning it into a nation solely focused on self-defense. The United States, in turn, signed a security treaty, promising to defend Japan in case of an attack. This arrangement worked for decades. Japan poured its energy into economic reconstruction, becoming a global technological and industrial powerhouse, all while sheltering under the American security umbrella. Its military, known as the Japan Self-Defense Forces, or JSDF, was small, defensively oriented, and constitutionally restricted. But the world of the 21st century is a very different place from the post-war era. The ground is shifting, and Japan is shifting with it. So, what's causing this monumental change? The single biggest factor is the shifting security landscape in East Asia. Let's start with China. China's military growth over the past 2 decades has been nothing short of explosive. Its naval expansion, its increasingly assertive actions in the South and East China Seas, and its sophisticated missile technology are all causing major alarm in Tokyo. There's a particular flashpoint, the Senkaku Islands, which Japan administers, but China also claims, calling them the Dao Islands. Chinese Coast Guard and naval vessels regularly enter the waters around these islands, testing Japan's resolve. This isn't just a distant territorial squabble. It's a direct challenge to Japan's sovereignty right on its doorstep. Then there's North Korea. The regime in Pyongyang has relentlessly pursued nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. We've all seen the headlines, missile tests that fly over Japanese territory, landing in the waters of its exclusive economic zone. For the average Japanese citizen, this isn't a theoretical threat. Imagine hearing air raid sirens and getting emergency alerts on your phone telling you to take cover because a missile from a hostile, unpredictable neighbor is flying overhead. This has become a stark and terrifying reality, forcing a national conversation about whether Japan's current defense posture is enough to protect its people. And finally, we can't ignore the role of the United States. While the U.S.-Japan alliance remains strong, there's a growing sense in Tokyo that they can't rely on America forever. Questions about the reliability of the U.S. security guarantee have surfaced, especially during times of political change in Washington. The America First rhetoric and debates about the cost of maintaining troops abroad have made Japanese policymakers nervous. They've started to think, what if, one day, we have to stand on our own? This has created a powerful incentive for Japan to build up its own capabilities, to become a more equal and capable partner in the alliance rather than just a dependent. These 3 factors are rising China, a belligerent North Korea, and an uncertain America have created a perfect storm, pushing Japan away from its post-war pacifism and towards a new era of military strength. So, how exactly is Japan transforming its military? It's happening on multiple fronts, through money, technology, and strategy. First, let's talk about the budget. Japan has shattered its long-standing informal cap of spending only 1% of its GDP on defense. The government has approved a massive 5-year plan to double defense spending to 2% of GDP by 2027. This would give Japan the 3rd largest military budget in the world, behind only the United States and China. That is a staggering amount of money, and it's being used to buy some serious hardware. Japan is acquiring long-range strike capabilities for the first time since World War II. This is a huge deal. They're buying hundreds of American-made Tomahawk cruise missiles, which can hit targets up to 1,600 kilometers away. This gives them what they call counter-strike capability, the ability to hit enemy bases and missile launch sites if an attack on Japan is imminent. For a country that has for decades defined its military as purely defensive, this is a radical strategic shift. They are no longer just building a shield. They are forging a spear. Their Navy, the Maritime Self-Defense Force, is also getting a major upgrade. Japan is converting its two large helicopter carriers, the Azuma and the Kaga, into full-fledged aircraft carriers capable of operating F-35B stealth fighter jets. These will be Japan's first aircraft carriers since the Second World War. This dramatically extends the reach and power of their Navy, allowing them to project force far from their home islands. They're also building new, highly advanced destroyers and submarines, ensuring their naval dominance in the region. On the technological front, Japan is a powerhouse. They're investing heavily in next-generation technologies like cybersecurity, space capabilities, and unmanned systems. They are partnering with the UK and Italy to develop a new sixth-generation stealth fighter jet. This focus isn't just on buying foreign equipment. It's about developing their own cutting-edge domestic defense industry. This ensures they aren't dependent on other countries for their security needs in the long run. So, we're seeing more money, more advanced weapons, and a new strategy that includes offensive capabilities. The Japan Self-Defense Forces are being transformed from a limited, home guard-style force into a powerful, modern military capable of operating across the Indo-Pacific. This military transformation is being driven by a profound shift in Japanese public opinion and political will. For decades, Article 9 and the pacifist identity were sacred cows in Japanese politics. But the constant provocations from China and North Korea have changed hearts and minds. Polls now show that a majority of the Japanese public supports a stronger military and increased defense spending. They see the threats as real and immediate, and the old ways as no longer sufficient. This public sentiment has empowered politicians, most notably the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and his successors, to push for these historic changes. Abe was a key architect of this new vision for Japan. He championed the idea of a free and open Indo-Pacific and pushed for a reinterpretation of the Constitution to allow for collective self-defense. This means Japan could come to the aid of an ally, like the United States, if it were attacked. This was a major step away from the strict self-defense-only policy. The current Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, is continuing this trajectory, overseeing the massive budget increases and the acquisition of counter-strike capabilities. He has framed these changes not as a rejection of peace, but as a necessary investment to protect peace in a more dangerous world. Japan is also strengthening its alliances beyond just the United States. They've become a central pillar of the Quad, a strategic dialogue between the US, Japan, Australia, and India, which is widely seen as a democratic counterweight to China. Japan has also signed new defense pacts with Australia and the United Kingdom, allowing for closer military cooperation and joint exercises. They're providing patrol boats and military training to Southeast Asian nations like the Philippines and Vietnam, helping them secure their own waters. Japan is no longer a passive observer in regional security. It's becoming an active leader and a security provider, building a network of like-minded partners to maintain stability. So, what does this all mean for the future? A more militarily capable Japan fundamentally changes the balance of power in Asia. For the United States and its allies, it's a welcome development. A stronger Japan means a more robust and resilient alliance network, sharing the burden of maintaining security in the Indo-Pacific. It means another powerful democratic navy, helping to ensure freedom of navigation in critical sea lanes. However, not everyone sees it this way. Unsurprisingly, China and North Korea have vehemently condemned Japan's moves, accusing it of reviving its past militarism. They use Japan's imperial history as a propaganda tool to paint this modern-day rearmament as a threat. South Korea, while an American ally, also has complex feelings. The historical wounds from Japan's colonial rule run deep. And while they share concerns about China and North Korea, there's still public and political unease in Seoul about a powerful Japanese military. Navigating these historical sensitivities will be a major challenge for Japan as it steps into its new role. The biggest question of all is whether these changes will lead to more stability or more conflict. Proponents argue that a stronger Japan creates a more credible deterrent. They believe that by raising the costs of aggression, Japan's military buildup makes war less likely. It creates a balance of power that discourages would-be aggressors. On the other hand, critics worry about a potential arms race. They fear that as Japan builds up, China will respond by building up even more, leading to a dangerous spiral of military expansion and increasing the risk of miscalculation or an accidental conflict. The East Asian region is becoming a crowded and tense space, filled with advanced weaponry and simmering nationalist tensions. One thing is certain: the Japan we thought we knew is gone. The era of quiet pacifism is over, replaced by a new era of proactive, pragmatic realism. Japan is not seeking conflict, but it is no longer willing to be a passive bystander while the security of its nation is threatened. It is re-emerging on the world stage as a full-fledged power with both economic might and increasingly military muscle. The quiet transformation of Japan into a military power is one of the most important geopolitical stories of our time, and its consequences will be felt for decades to come. What do you think about Japan's new direction? Is it a necessary step for its own defense, or a risky move that could destabilize the region? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into global affairs. See you next time.